I am a 32-year-old software engineer whose life seemed perfect with Amanda. After 6 wonderful years together, we were planning our dream wedding just 3 months away. Then one night I borrowed her phone to call mine when I stumbled upon messages that shattered my world. She had been cheating with a coworker for months. As she packed her things, her final words cut deep. "You will never find anyone like me again." Before I continue my story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Please hit that like and subscribe button to support more real stories like mine. Amanda and I first crossed paths at a tech conference in Seattle 6 years ago. She was presenting on UX design while I was there representing my company. During the networking event afterward, we bonded over our shared love of indie video games and obscure sci-fi movies. I still remember how her hazel eyes lit up when I mentioned my collection of vintage Star Wars memorabilia. She gave me her number before the night ended, and I called her the very next day. Our relationship blossomed naturally. Amanda was brilliant, beautiful, and shared so many of my interests. We would spend weekends either hiking through national parks or having marathon gaming sessions on rainy days. After a year of dating, we moved in together, merging our book collections and arguing playfully about whose coffee maker would claim counter space. Our friends called us the perfect match, and I secretly agreed with them. After 5 years together, I decided it was time. I spent months designing a custom engagement ring that incorporated elements from her favorite game, The Legend of Zelda. The proposal itself took weeks to plan. I convinced her we were attending a work function at the Seattle Art Museum, but instead I had arranged a private viewing of the exhibit she had been dying to see. As we walked through the empty gallery, her favorite song began playing, and when she turned around, I was on one knee. The look of pure joy on her face when she said yes made every minute of planning worth it. We celebrated with champagne and called our families together, both of us giddy with excitement. That night, Amanda whispered that she had never been happier, and I believed her completely. The next few months were a whirlwind of wedding planning. We secured our dream venue, an historic lighthouse overlooking Puget Sound, for a sunset ceremony in June. Amanda threw herself into every detail, from designing our invitations to selecting the perfect menu that accommodated all our guests' dietary restrictions. I handled the logistics, creating spreadsheets to track our budget and guest list. Everything was coming together perfectly. Looking back, I should have noticed when things began to change. About 7 months before the wedding, Amanda started working late more frequently. She attributed it to a major project with a demanding client. I supported her, bringing dinner to her office some nights, or making sure her favorite tea was ready when she finally got home. I wanted to be the understanding partner who helped her succeed. Then came the smaller changes. She became protective of her phone, always placing it face down and taking it with her even for quick trips to the bathroom. The notification sound would sometimes change, and when I asked about it, she said the app had updated automatically. She started going out with work friends more often, returning home with vague stories about their evenings. I noticed she had bought new clothes and was wearing makeup styles I had never seen before. I dismissed these red flags, telling myself she was just stressed about the wedding and work simultaneously. We were still planning our future together after all. We had just put a deposit down on a house in a suburb with great schools, thinking ahead to the family we planned to start. When I voiced my concerns about her distant behavior, she reassured me with kisses and promises that everything was fine, just temporary pressure from work. One Friday night, about 3 months before our wedding, my phone died while Amanda was in the shower. I needed to call an Uber to pick up our takeout, so I grabbed her phone from the coffee table. As I reached for it, a notification flashed across her screen. From Jake, with a heart emoji. The message preview read, "I miss feeling your body against." My heart froze. Jake was her coworker, the project manager she had mentioned occasionally. With shaking hands, I unlocked her phone. She had not changed the password since we first moved in together. I told myself there could be an innocent explanation, but deep down I knew what I would find. The conversation thread between them went back 4 months. Messages filled with explicit descriptions of their encounters. Plans for hotel meetings during lunch breaks. Inside jokes about deceiving me. They had been having an affair for 4 months, starting right around the time she began working late. Some nights when I thought she was at the office, she was actually with him. I felt physically ill reading through their exchanges. The worst part was seeing how they sometimes discussed me. Jake asking if she was sure about marrying boring Brewster. Amanda responding that I was safe and stable but lacked the excitement she found with him. My hands trembled so violently I nearly dropped the phone. I heard the shower turn off and quickly took screenshots of key conversations, emailing them to myself before deleting the emails from her sent folder. I replaced the phone exactly as I had found it and pretended to be asleep when she came to bed. That night, lying beside the woman I thought I would spend my life with, I stared at the ceiling and felt my world collapsing. The next morning, I pretended everything was normal. I kissed Amanda goodbye as she left for a supposed Saturday at the office, knowing she was meeting Jake. Once she was gone, I began making calls. I contacted our venue photographer, caterer, and everyone else involved in the wedding. I told them there had been a family emergency and we needed to postpone indefinitely. Most were understanding, though I lost several deposits. I did not care about the money. I just needed to dismantle our plans before confronting her. Next, I called my best friend Michael and my sister Lauren, the only people I trusted completely. They came over immediately. Lauren helped me gather documents and financial information, while Michael sat with me as I processed what was happening. They wanted me to confront Amanda immediately, but I insisted on handling it my way. I needed to be prepared and in control for what came next. When Amanda returned that evening, I had prepared her favorite dinner salmon with roasted vegetables and the expensive wine we had been saving for a special occasion. She seemed surprised but pleased, commenting that it felt like date night. I managed a smile and suggested we enjoy one last nice meal together. The confusion on her face, as I said last, was quickly replaced by wariness. I asked her calmly to tell me about her day, about what she had been working on with Jake. She claimed they had been finalizing presentation slides, but her eyes darted away from mine. I nodded, took a sip of wine, and placed her phone on the table between us. "I want you to unlock this and hand it to me," I said quietly. Her face paled instantly. "What? Why? You know I do not like people going through my phone." "Not even your fiancée?" I asked. "Because I already saw everything, Amanda. I saw the messages between you and Jake. I know about the 4-month affair. I know about the hotel meetings. I know everything." For a moment, she sat frozen. Then came the denials, claiming I was misinterpreting things, that Jake was just a flirtatious friend. When I mentioned specific dates and conversations, her strategy shifted to anger. How dare I invade her privacy? What kind of relationship did we have if I did not trust her? I remained calm, which seemed to frustrate her more. Finally, her defenses crumbled, and the truth emerged in bitter fragments. Yes, she had been sleeping with Jake. Yes, it had been going on for months. But did I ever consider why? Did I ever think about how boring our life together had become? How predictable I was. According to Amanda, I worked too much. I was too focused on my routines and hobbies. I was not spontaneous or exciting enough. She claimed she tried to spice things up, but I did not notice her efforts. Jake made her feel desired and adventurous. She had been planning to end the affair after the wedding, convincing herself it was just pre-commitment jitters. "I am supposed to thank you for planning to be faithful after our wedding," I asked, my voice finally betraying emotion. "You have been lying to my face while planning our future. You have been discussing me with your lover, mocking me. How could you possibly think we could move forward from this?" She switched tactics again, crying and begging for another chance. She promised to cut all contact with Jake, to go to couples therapy, to do whatever it took. But her words rang hollow, especially when just minutes before she had been blaming me for her infidelity. "I want you to move out," I told her. "I have already contacted everyone about the wedding. It is over, Amanda. All of it." That was when her expression hardened. The tears vanished, replaced by cold anger. "If that is what you want, fine. But you will regret this, Brewster. You will never find anyone like me again. Who would want someone as boring and predictable as you? Good luck finding someone who puts up with your rigid routines and obsessive hobbies. You will be calling me in a month begging for another chance." She packed a suitcase that night and went to stay with a friend. Over the next week, She came back, while I was at work, to collect more of her things. We communicated only through terse texts about practical matters. She wanted to keep our reservation at the house we had put a deposit on. I told her she could have it if she reimbursed me for my portion. She refused, and we lost the deposit. Telling our families and friends was excruciating. Most were supportive, though. Some mutual friends took her side. When she spun a story about me being controlling and unreasonable. The worst was returning wedding gifts and explaining to confused relatives why the wedding was off. Each conversation reopened the wound. In the months that followed, I sank into a deep depression. I took time off work, barely leaving my apartment. Food lost its taste. Sleep became either impossible or all I did. I ignored calls from concerned friends and family. My apartment, still filled with remnants of our life together, became both a prison and a sanctuary. I could not bear to remove her presence entirely, but each item that reminded me of her was like a knife to my heart. Michael eventually used his spare key to enter my apartment after I had ignored his messages for a week. He found me unshaven, surrounded by takeout containers, staring blankly at a television show I was not really watching. He did not offer sympathy or platitudes. Instead, he opened my curtains, threw away the garbage, and told me to shower while he made coffee. "You are coming to the gym with me tomorrow," he said. 6 in the morning. "I will be here to pick you up, and if you do not answer, I am breaking down the door." I almost told him to leave, but something in his determined expression stopped me. He had been my friend since college. He had stood by me through my parents' divorce, my career struggles, everything. If he thought the gym would help, I could at least try. That first workout was pathetic. I had neglected my health for months and could barely complete the simplest exercises. But the physical exertion gave me something concrete to focus on besides my pain. Michael brought me back the next day and the next. Gradually, it became part of my new routine. 3 months after the breakup, I finally reached what felt like rock bottom. I ran into Amanda and Jake at a restaurant. They were holding hands across the table, laughing intimately. When she saw me, she smiled with smug satisfaction. I left without ordering, went home, and finally broke down, completely sobbing until I had no tears left. That night, I realized I had 2 choices: let this destroy me, or rebuild myself from scratch. I chose the latter. The next day marked the beginning of my transformation. I joined a therapy group for people dealing with betrayal. Hearing others' stories helped me realize I was not alone, and my feelings of inadequacy were common responses to infidelity. My therapist helped me understand that Amanda's cheating reflected her character, not my worth. I recommitted to my physical health, not just through gym sessions with Michael, but by learning proper nutrition and sleep habits. Each small improvement in my physical strength translated to emotional resilience. I started setting goals first: a 5-kilometer run, then a 10-kilometer, eventually training for a half marathon. As my energy returned, I reconnected with old friends and interests I had neglected during my relationship. I joined a local board gaming group, rediscovering my passion for strategy games. I took a pottery class on a whim, something I had always been curious about but Amanda had dismissed as boring. Working with clay became surprisingly therapeutic, the process of creating something from nothing mirroring my own rebuilding. At work, I channeled my energy into a major project I had been putting off. My focus and dedication caught my manager's attention, leading to new responsibilities. 6 months after the breakup, I received a promotion that came with a significant raise. The professional validation helped restore some of the confidence Amanda had shattered. My apartment underwent a transformation too. I finally packed away all traces of Amanda, donating what I could and discarding the rest. I repainted the walls, rearranged the furniture, and invested in new artwork that spoke to me. The space became truly mine, reflecting my tastes without compromise. 9 months after the breakup, Michael convinced me to attend our 10-year high school reunion. I was reluctant, remembering how invisible I had felt in high school, but he insisted it would be good for me to see how far I had come. I agreed, mostly to stop his badgering, expecting an awkward evening of forced small talk. The reunion was held at a hotel ballroom near our old school. As we entered, I was surprised by how many people remembered me and approached us. Apparently, my work on several well-known apps had given me a reputation I was unaware of. As Michael wandered off to reconnect with old basketball teammates, I found myself in conversation with a group from my AP Computer Science class. That was when I noticed her. Jessica Walker had been in my year but ran in different circles. I remembered her vaguely as a quiet, artistic girl who kept to herself. She had transformed into a stunningly confident woman. Her dark hair fell in elegant waves, and her smile lit up the room as she chatted with former classmates. What I did not know then was that Jessica had become a successful model after college, working with major fashion brands before launching her own clothing line focused on sustainable materials. I also did not know that she had harbored a crush on me throughout high school, too shy to ever approach the boy she described as intimidatingly smart. Our eyes met across the room, and she smiled in recognition. To my surprise, she excused herself from her conversation and walked directly toward me. "Brewster Harrison," she said, extending her hand. "I was hoping you would be here tonight." I was momentarily speechless, trying to reconcile this poised woman with the girl I barely remembered from high school. We spent the next 2 hours in conversation, ignoring the rest of the reunion around us. Jessica was intelligent, genuine, and surprisingly funny. She asked thoughtful questions about my work and shared stories about her unexpected journey into modeling and entrepreneurship. By the end of the evening, we had exchanged numbers and made plans for coffee the following weekend. As I drove home that night, I realized I had not thought about Amanda once during my conversation with Jessica. It felt like a significant milestone. Our coffee date turned into dinner, which turned into a walk along the waterfront until midnight. With Jessica, conversation flowed naturally. She listened intently when I spoke and shared openly about her own life. She confessed that she had noticed me on the first day of freshman year and had spent 4 years hoping I would notice her back. I was completely oblivious. I admitted thinking of my awkward teenage self focused entirely on computers and science fiction. "I would never have imagined someone like you would be interested in someone like me." "Someone like me," she repeated, raising an eyebrow. "You mean someone who spent hours in the art room because she was too anxious to eat in the cafeteria? Someone who had exactly 2 friends and brought a book to every school dance? I was hardly the confident person you see now." Her honesty about her own insecurities was refreshing after Amanda's constant facade of perfection. As we continued dating, I discovered how different Jessica was from my ex. Where Amanda had pretended to share my interests while secretly finding them boring, Jessica was genuinely curious about my passions, while also introducing me to her world of art and design. She challenged me to try new experiences, but never made me feel inadequate for my preferences. When I told her about Amanda after our third date, feeling she deserved to know why I might be guarded, Jessica listened without judgment. Instead of pitying me or promising she was different, she simply thanked me for trusting her with my story and said she looked forward to showing me through actions, not words, that not everyone would hurt me that way. Our relationship developed gradually, both of us cautious for different reasons. Jessica had her own past relationship wounds, having dated a man who had tried to control her career choices. We were open about our fears and boundaries, building trust through consistent honesty rather than grand gestures. 3 months into dating Jessica, I had begun to feel something I had thought impossible after Amanda: genuine happiness and trust. I was learning that relationships could feel supportive rather than depleting, that the right partner amplified your best qualities instead of diminishing them. Then came the moment that felt like the universe had a sense of irony. Jessica and I were having dinner at a new restaurant downtown when I spotted Amanda entering with a group of people. She looked exactly as I remembered, but the sight of her no longer triggered pain. Before I could mention it to Jessica, Amanda noticed me. Her eyes widened in recognition, then narrowed as she took in the beautiful woman sitting across from me. Instead of avoiding the encounter, Amanda detached from her group and approached our table. "Brewster," she said with forced casualness. "It has been a while. You look good." "Thanks," I replied simply. "This is Jessica." Amanda extended her hand, introducing herself as my friend. Jessica smiled politely, but squeezed my hand under the table in silent support. "We should catch up sometime." Amanda suggested, her eyes darting between Jessica and me. "I have been thinking about you. Maybe we could grab coffee." I looked at her, truly looked at her, and felt nothing but a distant sadness for what she had thrown away. I do not think that would be a good idea, I said calmly. I have moved on Amanda. I hope things are going well for you. Her smile faltered slightly. Do you know who I am? She asked Jessica suddenly. We were engaged until about a year ago. Jessica nodded. Yes, Brewster told me about you, she said graciously. I understand you are with someone named Jake now. Amanda blinked clearly, not expecting that response. We broke up, she said dismissively. It was not serious. She turned back to me. Seriously, Brewster, we should talk. I made some mistakes, but we had 6 years together. That means something. Before I could respond, a man from her group called out, asking if everything was okay. Amanda waved him off and leaned closer to me. Are you really going to throw away what we had? She asked quietly. I did not throw it away, Amanda, I replied. You did. I wish you well, but I have moved forward with my life. Jessica and I politely excused ourselves shortly after deciding to continue our evening elsewhere. As we walked to the car, she asked if I was okay. Looking at her concerned expression, I realized I truly was. Seeing Amanda had not shaken me because I no longer defined my worth through her eyes. The unexpected encounter with Amanda provided a sense of closure I had not realized I needed. Seeing her attempt to reconnect made me appreciate how far I had come from the devastated man who had found those messages on her phone a year earlier. The cruel words she had flung at me during our breakup no longer held any power. I had indeed found someone unlike her in all the best ways. Jessica and I continued building our relationship on mutual respect and genuine connection. We took things at a comfortable pace, both aware of the importance of establishing a strong foundation. Unlike my relationship with Amanda, where I had often compromised my own needs to keep her happy, Jessica and I worked to ensure both our needs were met. The most remarkable aspect of being with Jessica was how she never made me feel like I needed to be someone else. She appreciated my so-called boring routines, often joining me for Sunday morning crossword puzzles with coffee. She found my technical babbling about coding problems endearing rather than tedious. And she introduced me to her world of art galleries and design studios with patience, never making me feel out of place. Learning to trust again did not happen overnight. There were moments when old insecurities surfaced when I would worry about Jessica, working with handsome male models or traveling for fashion shows. But each time she returned exactly when promised, each time she called when separated, another small piece of my faith in relationships was restored. 6 months into our relationship, Jessica invited me to be her date at a major fashion event. Seeing her in her element, confidently navigating a world so different from my own, filled me with pride. Several times during the evening, people asked if I was intimidated dating someone in the spotlight. The question always made me smile, thinking of the shy girl Jessica described from high school. I am not intimidated. I would reply honestly. I am inspired by her. Later that night, Jessica confessed that no one had ever seen her so completely before. Others had been attracted to her appearance or her growing success, but I was the first to appreciate both her achievements and her vulnerabilities. In that moment, I realized how healing our relationship had been for both of us. The greatest lesson from my journey was understanding that my value does not depend on someone else's ability to see it. Amanda could not recognize my worth, but that did not diminish it. Jessica sees qualities in me that Amanda dismissed as flaws. The difference is not in me, but in the eyes doing the seeing. I also learned that while betrayal causes devastating pain, it does not have to define your future. Had Amanda not cheated, I would have married her, never knowing the manipulation beneath her affection. Her betrayal painful, as it was freed me to find something genuine. In a strange way, her cruel parting words pushed me to prove them wrong, not just to her but to myself. Today, Jessica and I are discussing moving in together. We are taking this step thoughtfully, both aware of what is at stake. I do not know what the future holds for us, but I approach it with open eyes rather than blind trust. Real love, I have discovered, does not need idealization to thrive. It grows stronger with honesty, even when that honesty reveals imperfections. So what about you? Have you ever experienced a betrayal that eventually led to something better? How did you rebuild your trust after it was broken? Share your stories in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to hear more real-life experiences. Share with anyone who might need to hear that sometimes what feels like an ending is actually making space for a better beginning. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember that your worth is never determined by someone who failed to recognize it.